During the growing season, I've bragged about my plants looking more like house plants than garden plants. But the predators are always out there looking for any weakness. I knew this cauliflower had been compromised because very early... Oh, this was my brother's hat. Very early on, they were eaten almost, but not quite down to the ground by, it could have been anything. Little orphans coming around this time of year, possum, raccoon. I don't have the heart to plant them out. I just try to plant things that discourage them. Since they were weak anyway, I just allowed them to become sacrifice plants. Not only do I want to remove the plant, but I want to get every leaf that came off of it and remove this from the garden. I will compost these. I just have to make sure that pile gets really, really hot. And it will. When I made my video about an overabundance of nitrogen, remember when I made a joke about it being taller than me? This Brussels sprout is supposed to be 3 feet tall. Yeah, well, it's a couple of months later. Because of its adjacency to that cauliflower, I don't want this to get attacked by aphids right at the time when it finally starts to make Brussels sprouts. I've been waiting since last spring for this thing to give me some food. Oh look, there's some nice mycelium. Look at there. That's pretty. You can see my fence here. This wire goes the full length of my garden rows. So far, that's kept the gopher out. Here are the rows. I have 2 sizes. The bigger size is adequate to go down to row 2. I just wanted to use this up. This used to be 2 long rows. I'd say that's 40 feet here. Both of them have wire underneath. Deer hop in there, even with a tall fence. Not really tall, 6 feet. The deer hop in like there's no fence at all. It was the same with this. They're grown up now, intermittently down through here, all the way down. I mean, that's 100 feet. I had garden going all the way down through here, and I could not keep the deer out. So I'm going to restructure these fences this season, and instead of making 1 long row, I'm going to fence them all in individually, more like this one. And if I'm lucky, for the first time in a long time, I'll be deer proof. It's difficult to get the angle just right so you can see what I'm doing. That little squared in garden plot gives me hundreds of pounds of food every season. And the cool thing about having a compact area is so far the deer don't seem to be able to get in. I do still have to worry about smaller stuff, raccoons, skunks, possum, everybody goes in there, slugs. I have to worry about all that, but this little square keeps the deer out. So now I just put little squares everywhere. This entire area is just one huge block of microbes. I didn't till or anything when I started this. I just laid down the wire and started making layers. All of the stuff that I have on the ground has kept me relatively pest-free. These aphids are the first thing that's shown up. I let 1 radish go to seed, and these are all baby radish coming up. As they get a little bit bigger, I'll move them around. I have 1 radish coming in, which is awesome because it's relatively close to this chard. I discovered accidentally, if I put some sort of spicy root next to the delicate stuff, the slugs seem to stay away. I might as well harvest this radish. Hopefully there's a few seeds left in there, and I'll throw down some more. Normally my next step would be to put down a thick layer of compost, but I have an overabundance of nitrogen in this bed at the moment. This is a bucket of worm castings, I make castings now using earthworms. I have a full tutorial on how to make worm castings using earthworms. Cool thing about earthworms is they're acclimated for the garden. So I can dump this in, and the microbes and the worms, everybody will go right to work. These microbes will eat the larvae of the aphids, or hopefully also if there are any snail eggs, they'll take care of those. That's the entire area that was affected by aphids. I'm going to put worm castings all the way down. I have them, I might as well use them, right? It's difficult to get a good angle on this work because of this enormous plant right in the middle of the garden. But here it is. I've put worm castings the entire length of the bed. Leaves are covered in fungi. Generally, when you use compost alone, your garden can get bacterial dominant. And when that happens, it opens the door to weeds and pests. So I like to add leaves. Not only do they introduce fungi into the garden, as they break down, they'll take up a little bit of that extra nitrogen that I had last season. I've got something to go into this bed as soon as it's ready. Got some young daisies here. I want to give them a little protection, but I don't want to cover them up, and I certainly don't want dirt in the crown. This old vinca is a hard no. That little willow tree gave me just what I needed. There we go. Already the microbes are going to work. One more thing. This is the end of the grass pile that I gathered back in the summer. Oh, look at this. We had a rain, and already the breakdown. Always, always, always happening. You don't normally stop to think about how much value is in that lump of grass and leaves. Thank you, grass and leaves. Compost, leaves, grass. That's the process. It's getting very dark though. One more thing. That little patch of weeds in the back. That earthworm box, I still have the whole other half of it to harvest, but not today. So this layer of castings is not quite as thick as I would like. Everybody got a little bit. I'll make up for the lack of worm castings by adding this biochar. My pit is probably 5 years old at this point. I like to aerate, not turn over, just create some holes in the ground. I'm going to add some seeds, and I also want to make little soft spots. It lets the worms go deeper. That's a blackberry. Put the rest of these leaves in this baby hugel culture. We're going to top it off too. I've got something that needs to go in there. Whoops. Oh good, it was the one something made anyway, fine. Roots, those I absolutely pluck out. I want to protect this little char. I know the slugs will come now that it's wet, so it's time to put down my defenses. The county came last year and chipped our brush. I don't have enough for them this year, so I'm gonna burn the little pile that I have this year because I need some wood ash. But it sure was nice to get all of these chips. Thank you, county. Ooh. Uh-oh, shoulder down. Oh. Phew, it's tight in here. Maybe I'll use buckets. I don't want to get the chips in the garden because they definitely will deplete the minerals in here to break themselves down. I don't want that. For heaven's sake. That's kind of the deal. Instead of hitting it with pesticides or fungicides, I just lay down a ton of indigenous microorganisms, beneficial biology. And then I'll just wait and watch. I'm not claiming to be some sort of garden guru, but I'm telling you, I've been gardening like this going into my 5th, possibly my 6th season. And the food I get is pristine and healthy. I worry about where things are going health-wise. I just don't think, soon I don't think folks are even going to know. In a few years, you're not even going to know what you're missing. The simple pleasures of a garden. So far, these other plants seem to be okay. I don't really see anything getting started here yet. By the way these leaves are curled, I can tell this plant's feeling some sort of pressure. Oh, there they are. They're not really started yet, but underneath this leaf, you see them? There's a few aphids. All these little guys, they're tender, so everything wants a bite. And I'm going to make a spray and spray every one of these plants. And it'll help the plant fight off things that try to eat it. Okay, let's make that spray so those aphids don't get hold of this big thing. Okay, it's just a standard spray bottle. This is liquid calcium. I'm putting a little bit of this in the water because calcium hardens the outer cell walls. Most people, after they make this, they strain it, and I should have. I'm going to strain it now. This is a 1/4 teaspoon. If it helps at all harden those cell walls, I'm for it. This is LAB, lactobacillus acid. Some folks think that this will fight fungus on plants, and since it's getting wet out and more fungus is starting to show up, we'll put a little bit of that in there. Lactobacillus, liquid calcium, peppermint oil. This is the star of the show. I'm going to try to do by the drop. And I'm going for 10 drops. That's 3. This is hard. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more. 10 drops. Sal Suds, S-A-L-S, Sal Suds is the only one that I recommend. but I have a bottle, I cannot find it. This is Blue Dawn. You can use up to 10 to 12 drops in a spray bottle like this. I'm just going to use a tiny little bit. 7 drops. Now fill it the rest of the way up with water. I'm a little bit shy. Let me turn on the hose. Okie doke. There's our spray. Calcium, lactobacillus acid, peppermint oil, and soap. The soap helps the oil to disperse, and it allows everything to stick to the plant. It's important that you don't overdo it, and you don't spray it on a sunny day. Today is overcast, so it's perfect. If you go too heavy on this, you can burn a plant. Ooh, that peppermint smells good. I wish my gentle mister is busted. I'm gonna rinse these leaves. Before I spray peppermint oil all over this thing, I'm going to do a harvest. If I'm going to eat these, I need to get to it. I've got a pot of black bean soup, and this will be perfect for this. That's a nice little harvest. I'll eat this over the next couple of days. Yes, it does need a piece of cornbread. I don't need a piece of cornbread. Time for this. I'm going to spray this chard. The peppermint oil keeps the slugs off of it. And now I'm going to spray every leaf left. Take your time and get everywhere. I think I want to take this amaranth very carefully. I want these seeds. I haven't noticed any real pressure on this plant yet. Oh, straight into the phone. Wow, okay. That's how that went. I do try to watch for little spiders and any other good guys, ladybugs. If I saw any beneficial bugs, I wouldn't give them a direct shot with this. I don't think it would kill them. Aphids seem to really go for the crown, so that tender growth happens. It seems like they always congregate there. So my hand is power squeezing, so I'm just going to pour the rest of this right where those aphids were. Okay, that should do it. Bottle's empty. No bare soil. even the ground between the rows. This is just a huge area full of indigenous microorganisms. They have everything they need. They have shelter, food, and water. And they have me. I'll take care of them and they'll take care of me. Thanks for watching. See ya.